We want to get up close and personal on Peters on the Block. The star for today is a plastic surgeon from the Republic of Korea who has been recognised for outstanding skills in the field of plastic surgery and is listed in the International Biographical Centre in the UK, one of the so-called world's 3 major biographical dictionaries. Korea is currently called the Centre of Plastic Surgery, recognised by the whole world. So today we have invited someone who is treating foreign patients on site, Dr. Jeongho. Please share your voice directly with us.
안녕하세요. 강남역 인근에서 성형외과를 운영하고 있는 성형외과 전문의 차정호라고 합니다.
반갑습니다. So our listeners, you may have clocked on that when our Peters on the Block guest does their little one-line intro in English, that means the interview will be in Korean and vice versa. So Dr. Cha spoke in Korean then. So you're comfortable to do the interview in English?
Yes, I'll try.
You are totally fluent in English. We had a little chat then, and that's so helpful for our listeners. So thank you very much, Dr. Cha, not only for coming in, but for also speaking English on the show as well. And so a plastic surgery specialist working at the very heart of the world-renowned Korean cosmetic surgery scene, in the heart of it as well, in the Korean introduction, if you didn't catch it, listeners, around the kind of Gangnam area, there is a hospital that Dr. Cha is running, and I've heard that you're a renowned specialist in facial surgery, and honestly, I shared it with our listeners recently. I'm kind of getting to this age where a lot is not the same as it used to be, and I'm considering some facial surgery. So I'm kind of embarrassed today and a bit self-conscious sitting here in front of you. Do you see, like, as a surgeon, many flaws in people when you look at their faces? Do you go into kind of work mode?
Okay, so this is my work. This is my job.
Yes.
So yes, there are some things that I recognize whenever I walk down the street. I see some people, and then I recognize what can be done, what can be improved, and what that person has received.
Yeah. You can see it.
Etc.
All with those surgeon eyes. Actually, earlier, we had one of our English listeners who I believe is married to a Korean lady, Kaifa, saying, my wife, JM, wanted to get surgery, but the doctor said there was nothing they could do for her, and he was pleased because, you know, in the West, I guess cosmetic surgery is not as common as here. So I'm kind of that thinking that I love my wife as she is. She's beautiful. She's aging beautifully. Like, I'd rather she didn't get anything done, and maybe the same for me. But are there cases then? I thought Korea could do anything. Are there cases where maybe there's not so much you could do for someone, depending on what they want?
Yes, it's literally what you said. It really depends on what a person wants. Let's say if I'll just have something very drastic.
Okay, sure.
If a person is seeking for a very unrealistic result, like
I want to look like Jimin from BTS or something like that.
Or
is that possible?
Maybe.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But again, if a person is saying that they just want to completely change their identity, and if that's going to compromise the health of a person, we're not going to do that. But of course, and the other part is now, like what you said. I don't think what you said. I'm not sure if that's a very suitable answer for what you just asked. But now, a lot of people have a prejudice against plastic surgery as well. So what you just explained was the husband was pleased that the doctor said no.
Yes.
But then this person sometimes comes back, and then we talk through this, and we actually realize that this person is actually wanting a realistic result. Right? Okay. In that case, it's you can gain much more by doing the surgeries. So because a lot of people have prejudice against plastic surgery, especially foreigners, not a lot among Koreans.
But it's more like Westerners, right?
Yes, because they're really not... they don't really know plastic surgery a lot.
We're not used to it. We're not exposed to it as much, right?
So if we do the surgeries, we're just making them look a little younger. Perhaps just moving back in time, about 15, 20 years. And then people are very pleased.
Of course.
And then their prejudice kind of goes away, and then they kind of realize that the purpose for plastic surgery is not transforming a person into another type of person, but we're just making a better self and just moving back in time.
A younger version of yourself. I don't think there are many people who would dislike that, right? Especially once you get to my age. Like when you're in middle age, you want to turn back the clock. So back to the beginning, how many years have you been practicing then as a plastic surgery specialist?
So I have been a board certified plastic surgeon for 15 years.
Oh, wow. Okay, so is it the same route as becoming a surgeon in other fields, like studying medicine for a certain amount of time and then specializing?
Yes. So I'll just briefly explain to you how this works in Korea. So you first go to a medical school. Then medical school typically lasts 6 years.
Yeah.
And then after medical school, you go to an intern for a year. So you don't have a specialty yet.
Okay.
So you're working as an intern at a hospital, and then you can apply for one department.
Okay.
So for that, you apply for a single department, and then there are some competitions. So it's based on how you perform as an intern, and your school grades, and the test scores, and of course the interviews. And then when you get selected, you work for 4 years, and then after 4 years
in that special department,
yes, whatever department that you go for. And then after 4 years, you have to pass the national exam. After you pass that, you are board certified.
So is that a total of, if my maths is right, 11 years?
Yes, 11 years.
Goodness gracious, before you get certified.
Yes.
That is a long study course. And in Korea, the competition for medical school is fierce, right? I can't count the number of kids, or maybe more accurately, kids' parents who want their children to become doctors in Korea. Like in the UK, it's obviously a very desirable profession to have, but most kids are like, I'm not going to be a doctor. Like, I don't have the brains for it. They kind of think that. And parents, although they are pushing their kids in one direction or the other, it's not so common to see so many doctors. So it must be difficult, more so than other countries, to become a doctor here.
I would say the competition is a little higher than other countries on average.
What made you want to become a doctor, by the way, Dr. Cha?
I really didn't have that much of a feeling because we don't really have any doctors in my family.
Okay,
And I just had some occasions where some of my teachers, especially some of the teachers that not only in schools, but I used to play music in the U.S.
Oh, wow.
And those musician professors and teachers were saying that you got to become a doctor that way. You can both go for music and your profession all together at the same time.
Really?
So I was kind of I thought that was true, and then I came and I realized that was not true.
Oh, really?
But whatever the case,
to do both at the same time does seem overwhelming. Although our writer says she follows you, I think, on social media or through the chatting apps, and says you do play an instrument still to this day.
Yes, I do. So I mainly play the violin. Okay. So I just had a concert 2 days ago.
Amazing.
And I have a concert coming next month, the next month, and I also perform with the Korean Doctors Orchestra and World Doctors Orchestra. So I just performed last year at Carnegie Hall at New York with the World Doctors Orchestra. So
what's an honor?
Yeah, the reason that I became a doctor is kind of becoming a reality starting last year.
Amazing. How you juggle these two things, I will never know. But many of our listeners hail from all different parts of the world, and I saw one earlier saying Dr. Cha is actually the name of a character in a K-drama that they were watching recently. And if you look at K-pop and K-dramas, K-plastic surgery, it does seem to be popular worldwide. So you're on the ground, on site. Do you see a significant number of foreigners visiting Korea specifically for procedures?
Oh, yes. So now what I will be describing about this is perfectly based on my personal experience. So it does not represent like 100% accurate for the Korean plastic surgery market, but we do see an increase in the foreigners visiting Korea for these specific procedures.
Is it higher than ever in your career so far?
Yes. So it was becoming pretty higher, going up, and then COVID came, and then everything stopped.
Yes.
And then it just grew back very quickly.
Wow. So which country do most of your patients, then foreign patients, hail from?
So from in our clinic, I would say the Japanese are probably numerically the most because they're pretty close.
Sure.
So they come here, do the surgery, and then leave the next day.
Oh, really?
It's very brave. It's very courageous people.
Absolutely, because there's no chance for follow-up or anything.
So we do video follow-ups, and they can fly over for follow-ups. So that's how we do.
Yeah.
And then probably the very close up, very close to first place would be people from the U.S.
Oh, wow. Really?
At our place. People from the U.S., Singapore, those mostly from English-speaking
Especially
countries.
because you can do consultations yourself in English.
Yes, so I like to do the consultations in English.
Yeah.
Because whatever a person is saying gives much more information than just what's written. So before we do the consultations, we always do the online consultations first. So we receive the answers to the questionnaires, what a person is wanting. So we have a rough idea. But then when we actually meet in person and talk this like deep inside, we can get much more information. And that way we can
imagine.
Yeah, it can. We want it to be on the same shoes.
Yes, absolutely. And it's not a case of like a person wants a procedure and you're just there to say, yep, we'll give you a procedure. Like you need to know, as we were talking about earlier, if it's realistic and what their true desires are and that kind of thing. Is there a style difference between people from different countries, just generally speaking? Do they pursue a different look or even procedure?
Okay. Right now, it's becoming pretty much the same.
Oh,
but
really?
Before, I would about 5 years ago, 5 to 10 years ago, it was pretty different.
Oh, really?
Especially among each and every countries, because at first, again, plastic surgery is not very approachable in other countries. So a lot of people are very prejudiced about plastic surgery.
Yeah.
So which means that people who are seeking for plastic surgeons are mostly on the ends. So what those people were asking for were something very drastic.
Oh, really?
In that case, we try to tone them down a little. But then nowadays, this happened with the Koreans first, and then other countries are kind of following right now, is that people want to look as natural as possible, which means that now natural does not mean no change at all. We need a change. If we're going to do the surgery, we need a change.
Yes.
Of course, right? If we don't have a change, there's no point in doing the surgeries.
You would think, right?
But then we are going to have a change. But so the end result would be whenever a person looks at you, they should see that you're very pretty, attractive features. But unless you tell anyone else that you receive any kind of surgery, people really should not know.
That's
if a person
key to good surgery.
Yes, if a person recognizes that, it means that something's wrong with you. Right?
Really?
So we're not going to go down that path. Now, most countries are following that route. Now, there are certain countries. I'm not going to name some of those countries, but a lot of people from those countries, some of those countries, they actually want it to stick out.
Oh, really?
So it's their, I think, way of telling. Other people, kind of showing off a little.
Like a status thing.
Yes, that I have received a surgery at Korea.
Oh, wow.
So in that case, we kind of tone up a little.
Yes.
And make it stick out a little bit.
Wow.
But not that different, just slightly.
But they're requesting that.
Yes.
Right? They want it to stand out. That's so interesting because in Korea, we're all about natural, even like the makeup side of things, to look as natural as possible.
Yes.
Not to be like red lipstick and blusher all over your face, but the same with surgery as well. Do people ever bring in a photo of like a celebrity and say, make me look like this?
Oh, yes.
And in that case, is it possible? Are there some people where you're like, oh, I can maybe make you look like this, and in some cases you're like, well, that's not going to happen.
Okay, so that's a very good question. Yes, we do receive a lot of people with the photos.
Okay.
Now, what people are requesting with the photos is a little different.
Okay.
So again, going back 5 to 10 years ago, there were some people who brings in the photo and just want to make it look exactly like this, like make it BTS Jimin, like for example. So that used to be the case. Right now, it's really not. In most of the country, all over the world.
So they still bring in a photo, but what are they asking then?
Yes. So I actually find it much useful if they actually bring the photos.
Oh, wow.
Because there are some what people are expressing through speaking is different among each and every person.
That's
so
true.
if they actually bring the photos, it actually gives me a visual idea of what a person wants. So I actually request a person before coming in.
Yeah.
So when we do the online consultation, I ask them to bring up the photos.
Oh, really?
Bring the photos of what kind of features that you want.
What kind of looks?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, let's say if a person wants like a nose job or an eyelid procedures, I ask them to bring a photo of your one photo. Like we call it like the one photos.
So like when your desired outcome.
Yes, and then we can make this. This is unrealistic. That's good. That would not look very good on your face. This would, so I can bring that out. And I also, when I ask them to bring the photos, I tell them you have like a certain anatomical structure here. Let's say like there are some people with the eyes protruded. There are some people where the eyes are kind of retracted inside. And I tell them to select the photos from the similar feature as you. In that case, it's going to be much more realistic.
That's
and we can make it.
Good tip, isn't it? Because I think before I ever went for a consultation, I would just think, oh, that person looks great. I wish I could look like that. But then, they did explain to me your eyes are a certain structure. And so getting a photo, an ideal photo for someone with a similar structure is much more realistic, right? And
Yes.
if there are clinics out there saying, oh, we can still do that, maybe you should be a bit suspicious. Or it might take a lot of restructuring of the face or something like that. Well, as a plastic surgeon then, when it comes to plastic surgery, cosmetic surgery, what do you think is the most important point to bear in mind then? From a surgeon's perspective, perhaps, and from like a patient's perspective, like, is it about, we've had a question from House Irina saying, is it just about aesthetics, just about your looks, or is this something deeper? Because, I've seen some cases, I see someone mentioning Ollie London, who's a famous person online for lots of plastic surgery to look as Korean as possible. Is it something deeper inside that this is a reflection of? I don't know. When it comes to plastic surgery, can it just be taken for face value?
Oh, it's definitely deep inside. People who are very desperate for plastic surgeries, in a lot of cases, they some people actually have low, say, self-esteem because they're kind of focused on their looks. So there have been some people where there's some clients where we did some of the extensive surgery on the facial procedures. Not too much, but here and there, just slight surgeries here and there. And then their self-confidence goes up much higher.
Oh, wow.
And their actually character changes a little bit.
Really?
Yeah, people were very, very quiet, very shy person, become a little more open-minded.
Wow.
In that case, and then they get a job. Yeah, and so those things happen.
Wow, so that's a real positive change in some cases.
So that's why I prefer to do a thorough conversation before actually deciding what kind of surgeries we're going to go for.
Wow. So do you get training in that as well? Like, because I guess that's almost like counseling in a way, to try and delve deep into someone's psyche almost.
Okay, so not as much training as I think it would be necessary, because most of the trainings were focused on the medical parts, the physical parts.
Sure. Wow, that's such an interesting side aspect to this as well. Dr. Chow, why don't we get to a song break and we'll continue on with some questions. So you've picked out a track from Esper, Supernova.
Yes.
Why have you gone for that?
That's because the pictures that people are bringing.
K-pop pictures.
Yes, so a lot of people bring the K-pop pictures, and most of the people from the Asian countries, especially the eyes or the nose. Right now, the most brought pictures are the picture of those people.
Oh, really? Yes. Wow, that is unbelievable.
Of Karina. So.
Oh, Karina is stunning, isn't she?
Right, exactly.
My daughter has her plastered all over her phone on her background and things like this. Okay, so we'll listen to Supernova from Esper. We'll be back with some of your questions as well, so write some more up on ARIRANG Radio K-pop. You tuned into Peter's on the Block today. joined by Dr. Cha Jeongho, a plastic surgery specialist working at the very heart of the world-renowned Korean cosmetic surgery scene. Many of our listeners getting in touch with questions as well. I Love Korea 143 saying, in Korea, there are many plastic surgery clinics concentrated in areas like the Gangnam district. Why do these districts become a hub for cosmetic surgery, and how has that shaped the industry? Yeah, I visited one at the other end of Gangnam, so the Gangnam station and then Shinmonyeon station, and then around the Shinsa area, which is just around the corner. There's so many, right?
Yes.
Is there a particular reason? Did all of you guys say let's go to Gangnam after size Gangnam style, or is it just that it's like an accessible kind of hub in Seoul, perhaps?
So I don't know how it actually began. It probably began like decades ago.
Yeah.
So I don't know how it began right now, but I suspect that it's probably one of those most approachable places and the most expensive places.
Yeah.
In Seoul. So it's like a yolk of an egg, and every place is located along what you just said, from Gangnam Station to Shinmonyeon, Shinsa, and Apgujeong.
Yeah,
those stations, that line,
strip,
right, that strip there. And because all of the plastic surgeries are concentrated there, the competition is high, which means that the quality is always going up, and maybe that's why everything's in Gangnam area, and probably and one of the reasons that foreigners come to Korea for a lot for the surgeries would be because now from our perspective, from my personal experience right now, I mainly concentrate on the facial procedures. Of course, there are a lot of doctors who do body surgeries as well, but the majority of Korean plastic surgeons, we do face a lot. So I personally do about 90% of the cases are done on the facial surgeries.
Oh, wow.
Now, my American counterparts, American plastic surgeons, for example, they do 90% body surgery.
Oh, it's flipped.
Yes, it's different. So that's probably one of the things also that the foreigners have in mind, considering for the facial procedures they come to Korea to do the surgeries.
Because we're real specialists at that.
Yes.
Because, I guess before I lived in Korea, if you said plastic surgery, I might think of like having breast implants, or like reducing your weight drastically. I don't know if that falls under the category of plastic surgery.
Yes, that does fall
liposuction and things like that.
Yes.
And so now I've been in Korea for so long, I automatically think of facial plastic surgery.
Right.
Yeah, so it's flipped completely. That's so true. And in Korea, with the plastic surgery, maybe it follows along the Korean culture of we have hubs for things, like for tteokbokki, for instance, in Sindangdong. They're all concentrated together.
Yes.
And, if you're thinking of like furniture, there are certain streets, antiques, there are certain streets. And so in Korea, the culture is to get things all together. Whereas in the West, I think it's more things are just spread out in general. But I guess, in terms of competition, keeping the quality high, that really is a symbol of it, these clusters of cosmetic surgery clinics. Because otherwise, if you're not good, you'd be like out of business, I'm guessing, rather quickly, right? We've also got one from Jun who says, what are the most common cosmetic procedures requested by male patients today? And how do their goals differ from female patients? Oh, interesting.
Okay, so again, based on my personal experience right now, for younger men, probably the most common procedure would be the nose job, rhinoplasties.
Oh, really?
It feels that it's right in the center of the face, and it just gives a very strong feature with a very strong, sturdy, very prominent nose. Not too big, not too small, not too low, just the right amount.
Wow,
so that's probably the most common thing, and followed by the second would be the eyelid procedures, but it's mostly about ptosis correction. Yes, and the ptosis correction means that we want to give a little bit of the tightness on the eye so that the eyes itself open fully without having to lift the eyebrows.
Okay.
So that's those two are probably the most common procedures done in younger men.
Yeah.
Now in older men, the generation is a little bit different. Now the how generations differ is very drastic compared to Western.
Oh, really?
Yes. Korea has been a very fast-growing country, which means that people from the previous generation and right now is a little bit different, which means that the way people are thinking is still a little bit different.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are even though not as much as before, but still a little bit prejudiced about plastic surgery. And they just kind of feel shy about going to plastic surgery places. So the older aged male patients would be asking for rejuvenating, just moving back in time. So mostly about the eye bags underneath and some of the droopy skin. Now, how that differs from women is that women, regardless of age, they're seeking for a more, they're just out open talking about looking pretty. Now, a lot of men, they don't really talk about that.
Especially the older generation Korean men, I could imagine, right?
So we can see that they want improvement, but they're just too shy to say that. So we need to try to catch their language. And about the eyelids, I think that's probably the most different from what we do in women and in men. So when people talk about 쌍꺼풀, the double eyelid crease line. So in women, they want to make it show all the way. In men, a lot of people want to kind of hide it, not showing all the way because they feel that they look a little too greasy with the thick eyelid crease line.
느끼하다,
yes,
right?
느끼.
I got that a lot when I first came in. There were some people who were saying, you just look really greasy, like oily, like almost, not quite sleazy, but you know, it can be seen as too defined, right? For men especially. So men ask for it to be not pronounced.
Yes, they just want to tone down a bit.
Wow. And that's so intriguing because still in the UK, and I wrote a British culture book recently, and it's really interesting because, of course, there's much more gender equality and men can come out and cry and talk about emotions, but there's still a stigma attached to taking too much care of yourself as a man. Like there's criticism towards that. And plastic surgery, like I couldn't imagine my friends, my British friends, getting anything. They'd be like, what, you just age and that's it. But I feel like maybe in 20, 30 years, Korea will be, the UK will be where Korea is now, like the older generation. And so does that mean like older Korean men, they come in almost secret, like for consultations? Are they not so open about it?
Now it's a little better, but there are still a great proportion of people who don't come here by themselves, but they're brought here by their wives.
Okay, so they're like, I'm not here by choice. My wife dragged me here, so they've got an excuse. That's so interesting. Leon from Singapore says, I'm curious if Dr. Cha has encountered any patients who want surgery, not just for appearance, but to improve what they believe their face says about their personality or fortune. Oh, this is like kwanzang, like the face reading and stuff. Is that a thing?
So, people usually from the Chinese culture. Chinese culture people usually come for the face reading. So they want their ears to have a certain shape. They want their nose not too flaring because it gives the fortune away.
Really?
So we do that. And let's say if we are going to remove the spot, we have to be very careful because if we're just asking them, is this a fortune spot? Because we're not going to remove that.
Some are desirable.
Yes, right. So we need to do. So not a lot, but there are but people usually from the Chinese culture seek for plastic surgery because of that particular reason.
That's intriguing because, Korea traditionally had that kind of kwanzang culture. And there's some people who still, I think a lot of Korean people from my mum's generation will still comment on like younger generation, you've got like ears that mean you're going to be rich or wealthy and things like this. But there are some people who then, does it work like that? If you change your earlobes to be rich, is there a kind of belief that maybe that will happen or it won't hurt at least?
Well, first of all, we're not going to do any surgeries that's going to hurt a person. But I think that kind of has some, it kind of works in a way that, let's say if we change the features for a good fortune face reading, that under that category, a person actually has improved self-esteem. And that actually helps them go through. So that's, so no harm done.
It's a virtuous cycle. Like if you kind of believe in that, it gives you confidence, right? Noor says from Malaysia, this plastic surgery, are we really talking about actual plastic being used? So is that the term to use in this day and age? Cosmetic surgery, is that the same thing? Because surely not all procedures are using actual plastic in insertions or things, right?
So we very rarely use foreign materials, about prosthetic materials for plastic surgeries, unless we are going to improve the volume like greatly. So we mainly, when we do the surgeries, it's more about changing the features changing from a current anatomical structure to a newly formed anatomical structure. Okay. Very anatomical, very natural procedure. So that's how the surgery is done. Mm-hmm. So plastic is not the plastic that we put in. Okay. In a person, or like the plastic melt from for
implants
the
and things
materials.
Like that. That's what we're talking about.
Yes, the plastic actually originates from a Greek word called plastikos.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay, so not to do with this man-made material whatsoever, right? And so is cosmetic surgery the same thing as plastic surgery? Can those be interchangeable?
So cosmetic surgery is actually part of the plastic surgery. So it's more about, plastic surgery is mainly about reconstructing surgeries. Mm-hmm. So reconstructing and anatomically repairing surgeries. Yeah. And cosmetic surgeries are actually part of that surgery.
Wow. So
it's only the part, but the exact procedures that we use for cosmetic surgeries are exactly the skills, the procedures we use for reconstructive purposes.
Oh, interesting. Halciorino from Brazil says, are there any guidelines for people who aren't sure what they want? Because I'm one of those people. I've been saving money for a nose job, but I don't really know what fix should look like. So how would someone like me who's kind of on the fence be treated? Like, are there guidelines for that?
So I wouldn't say there are guidelines for that, but what we need to improve as a plastic surgeon is we need to acquire the ability to actually point out what needs to be done in order to have a more balanced, natural look. Yeah. So for that specific question, there are a lot of people actually who really don't want what they need to be done. Let's say that a person wants a nose job, but they don't know what's going to suit them. But in that case, we need a thorough conversation to actually obtain some information that what kind of outcome a person wants, and what can be done, and what needs to be done, and what needs really not to be done in that case. So we need a very thorough conversation.
Yes, and knowing what they want. As we said earlier, photos can really help. But there's no right and wrong with looks, so that's got to be really essential, making sure that if someone's not sure, you're giving them all the options and they know what they're getting, kind of thing.
Yes.
Once the surgery's done, they're like, oh, I didn't want this, then it's too late, right?
Right.
Let's get to another song, and I think we're going to not have time for the quiz because it's so interesting, Dr. Cha, so I hope that's okay, that you're not going to win potentially one of these terrible prizes. But this is from the My Ideas Gangnam Beauty soundtrack. In that drama, the main character is not happy with their looks and completely transforms through plastic surgery. So this is Wiki Mickey's Love Diamond. And we're back for part 3 today. Peter's on the block. So honoured and lucky to be joined by Dr. Cha Jeongho, a plastic surgery specialist working at the very heart of the well-renowned Korean cosmetic surgery scene in the heart of Gangnam. He's got to go to the clinic straight after Peter's on the block as well. We are eating into your time. So thank you so much once again for joining us today. Some more questions to get to. And I guess we should go over this before we finish, just in case. There are potential side effects with any medical procedure, right? And so I assume with plastic surgery, it's no different. What are some of the potential side effects? And does that mean certain people should not maybe consider that as a solution?
Oh, yes. So probably the most serious and probably maybe somewhat common complications would be in people who have received multiple surgeries, repetitive surgeries.
So the more you have, the more risks are involved?
Yes. Now, the surgery itself increases the possibility of complications because we literally open up and then close it back up. But then another thing is, as wounds heal, it always kind of scars and then reconstructs. But then the more times the repetitive procedures are done, then the wound healing may go into other unexpected outcomes. Okay. So now there are some people who actually think of plastic surgery as changing their color, like of the hair, like their hairstyle.
Oh, they do it so frequently.
Right. Okay. So for the nose job, for example, it had been pretty common in the past because there were kind of trends. Yeah. So about 5-10 years ago, they used to have what we in Korea used to call pasanko. There's this Korean traditional sock, which looks like the
Oh,
pointy
so it kind
tip,
of goes
right?
up. Oh, that's true. I did see quite a few people with that nose,
Yes.
right?
Now, we do need slight curve in women to look natural.
Yeah.
But the trend is always kind of going a little bit
too far.
Too far on either side. So they want this enhanced tip, so they do the surgery, and then they kind of change their mind because the trend has gone away. They wanted to lower it a little bit, and then later they want to make it a little bit rounder, and then they kind of change their mind again. Doing that. Now that is not a very good thing to do.
Really?
Because it is going to increase the possibility of complications, which is avoidable.
Yeah.
So we should not do the surgeries extensively. So I do turn those people away. And I wouldn't say turn away, but I convince them not to do. Because even if I turn them away, they're simply going to go to other clinic and then just do it. They can't. Well, they'll think about doing that. And I'm sure a lot of doctors are actually telling them not to do. So I try to convince them not to do it because it's going to be very harmful for you. Now, the whole goal for plastic surgery is to have a very good outcome, like for a healthy appearance and very good outcome, confidence.
Yes.
We're not going to compromise the health for that.
Yeah, so that is the bottom line, right?
Yes.
So I'm guessing if you come to Korea, I was really kind of not touched is the wrong word, but impressed that you have like a pre-consultation online, right? So I guess then if there's something major where you think, oh, this person, don't waste your time like coming all the way to Korea if it's not going to be suitable, or maybe they've had extensive surgeries already. So doing that in advance, maybe putting in the groundwork before you come is a good idea. So your expectations aren't like sky high and the reality is much lower. So that's something very good to keep in mind. So Dr. Cha, before we wrap up, because we're already running out of time today, time has flown and you've been so informative. Personally, then, what are your goals, and do you have any more aims in the future? As a plastic surgeon, I can't imagine there's, and a violinist, I can't imagine there's much more you want to achieve. I mean, is there some kind of milestone you have in mind?
I just want everybody to be happy with you, and I just want to be a doctor who can give happiness to the clients that come to me. So not doing something too much, or not doing the procedure too conservatively, which does not change anything at all. And I just want to become a better surgeon and become a better consultant, so that we can have everybody be happy.
That's I think most people who become doctors, like, that is the bottom line. It may seem really simple, but giving happiness, like saving someone's life, and plastic surgery can do that, right? It can, like you said, increase someone's confidence who's maybe feeling really down about themselves and things like that. But that is such a simple goal. And people who do become doctors, remember, they've devoted so much time to that profession. So hats off, Dr. Cha. Thank you once again so much for coming in. I think in the future, I will come for a consultation, if you don't mind, at your clinic, because one day I'm going to have to get these dark circles done too. My producer Minnie was even saying earlier, her parents watch this and they're like, Peter always looks more and more tired as time goes by, and these dark circles aren't getting any better. So I look forward to a consultation in the future, Dr. Cha, okay? Good luck with everything going forward. And listeners, we've been so lucky to have Dr. Cha in the studio, and hopefully once again in the future, maybe we could have you back on. We'll leave it there for today, and Ichori to take us out with Miss Career, a fitting song. It's been your Daily Dose of Career. #DailyK out. Bye-bye, everyone.